Thanks for having me, Jeff, and I'm glad you took that meeting too. It was a good lunch, and we've had some really exciting stuff since that Beaver Creek meeting. So I'm a geologist. I make forward-looking statements. You can read that on your own time. So if you don't know about Dryden Gold, I'll give you the brief update, and then you can go and look at our very spectacular visible gold at the booth. Anna can show it to you. So why Dryden? Why listen? We have a great base of shareholders. We became a public company last year in January. The RTO was led by Rob McEwen as our lead order, but full of great people. We're in an excellent location. You can't really pick something better that's been underexplored but has a lot of high-grade hits. We're right off the Trans-Canada Highway. There's a paper mill in town, so there's road access everywhere. I can drive a pickup truck to every exploration target. We have incredibly low drill costs, $250 all in. You just don't see these kind of opportunities often. We have an excellent management team, experience bringing projects to M&A. We have a great technical team. I guess I'm bragging about myself here, but I'm a geologist, a VP of Exploration, Anna Hicken. We've worked together before. I spent 8 years in Red Lake, bringing the discovery cost there from $200 an ounce to $50. So I really believe in doing things smart, saving our shareholders money, applying the science to actually make the discoveries as quickly and as effectively as possible. So it's a well put together team and great project. So where are we located? I bragged about the highway. We're right between the city of Winnipeg and Thunder Bay, right off the Trans-Canada. It's a good neighborhood, a couple hours south of Red Lake, where I spent a lot of time, near Rainy River Mine. A lot of the people that live in Dryden actually work at one of those two mines. So when I talk about mining friendly, we really are. These type of deposits typically have really deep roots. So this area was mined in the early 1900s. Horse and buggies pulled out the gold back then. It was only mined to 140 meters. But similar mines like you heard about earlier today, Rice Lake or Red Lake, Kirkland Lake and Timmins, they go kilometers deep. So we're drilling very shallowly right now. It's been mined very shallowly, but there's a big upside at depth. The land package is very strategic, and it took a while to put this together. So we've been a private company since 2022. And that was really putting the pieces together and getting this land package. A lot of small prospectors, Corp owned kind of the central piece there. But it's all based on where we think the best chance for high-grade gold is. So there's a structure in the northeast corner going down to the southwest. That's the Manitou-Denoric Deformation Zone. That's been compared by researchers to the Porcupine-Duster Fault. You want to be within a few kilometers of that to really have a chance for high-grade gold mineralization, like our result this week of 1,930 grams per ton, so pretty exciting. We have a great neighborhood. We have Kinross in the camp, Next Gold to the north, and Kenorland. So there's definitely some action here. We have 70,000 hectares, so it's a very large land package. As Jeff said, we're really looking at a district play here. We certainly have a brownfields opportunity that we're exploring kind of in the central part of the project, but we're also looking to make a new discovery. What got me excited about joining the team in 2023 was the amount of high grade across the property. So this large land package has lots of showings, but it really hadn't been systematically explored and put together. Since we started, we have 3 flagship kind of targets, Gold Rock being our main focus, but we have a project Hinman way out to the east that is literally on the Trans-Canada Highway, and then Sheridan down to the south, which is right off of the Highway 502. Both of those targets have really exciting results from surface. Sheridan to the south, 617 grams per ton. We've done some work there. We're going to drill test that in next month in June. And Hinman, which is an early stage target, which we discovered in 2023, we'll be following up doing field work on that. But our flagship Gold Rock, you can go see the core today that we brought with us, but the highest grade hit on the property is 53,000 grams per ton over about a half a meter. So we know that there has to be a significant gold system here to have grades like that. You just don't get that otherwise. And last year with our own drilling, we followed up with results like 30 grams per ton over almost 6 meters, 15 over almost 7. So there are some good results here and some decent widths. Spent a lot of years in Red Lake. I was the exploration manager there for 5. The first thing I noticed when looking at the Gold Rock camp was the geometries were almost the same. So I drew that cartoon maybe my first week on the job and saw the geometries of the fold architecture and the fault architecture so similar to what we saw in Red Lake. And as we've been mapping and logging core here and looking at the rocks, we see more and more similarities between the different dikes and these structural controls. So I mentioned we became public last year, and we had some really clear objectives of what we wanted to accomplish last year. The first thing was to expand the footprint to see if the historic gold rock camp that was about a kilometer strike could be bigger if the mineralizing fluids continued out. We were successful in that. Then we needed to understand and kind of pinpoint the controls of high-grade mineralization. So we did what we call oriented core. We did a bunch of mapping to get the structural measurements right and start to understand the controls. With those more understood, we started targeting new high-grade zones, and we were able to find 3 new high-grade structures. Then we started to outline regional targets. This year, our focus is on the Elora Gold System, where we've seen the best widths within the gold rock camp. We'll be testing other intersection targets, which we'll get into on that. We're also going to be drilling this deeper. Most of the drilling is between 100 and 200 meters on this property. So we want to drill down deeper on what we call the Jubilee Zone and get to about half a kilometer and start to show that this really is an Archean lode gold system. We also have new targets from some of the mapping we did. So we're going to step out about 2 kilometers in gold rock along strike and test the Mud Lake target. And then we have some regional targets I mentioned. So the boring science, why do you care? Why should I explain this to you? Well, we have a thesis here on why the gold is where it is. So the Coles notes, the important stuff you've got to know, is we have 3 different deformation events. They also contribute to the gold mineralization. That's why we want to know it. That's why we've been working so hard to figure out what's happened in this tectonic history, but really the deformation history here. So we have an east-west older structure that kind of did the prep work for the ground. It got it ready for gold mineralization. Then the D2, that Manitou Denoric deformation zone that was compared to Porcupine Duster Fault and Timmins, that brought in gold mineralization in the northeast to southwest trend. The new thing we've discovered very recently, we saw it in our core, we saw it in the mapping, there are these north-south trending structures as well. And when we laid them on the map and put on the historic gold mines and our high-grade zones that we've discovered so far, they line up really well. So we'll be targeting more of these intersections. And the new result that we had this week, which I think, yeah, I'm on this one, was actually discovered in the hanging wall of the main structures. The previous operators did very selective sampling. They had a bias towards veins hosting gold, so they kind of selected. We sample everything. We also are looking at the geochemistry of everything. And we've discovered that there is high-grade potential in these other secondary structures that are parallel. So that gives us even more targets, and that's why it's so exciting that we hit that on this hole. And of course, the grades don't hurt either. That's the gold. If you want to come see it at the booth, pretty incredible. That was 1930 grams per ton over 0.6 meters, and 301 over almost 4. One of the other targets is the Jubilee Zone. This is the one we're going to be drilling towards depth. We want to be able to show that we have mineralization continuing deeper. We're also going to test these other intersections. So we've just started our drill campaign on the intersection target, and we've done a few test holes on the Laurentian mine. We really have a lot to work with, so it's a very exciting year. I mentioned as well, we're going to be doing a bigger step out in the Gold Rock camp. So last year, we used the geophysics that we have all over the property, and that really shows us where the historic deposits are. They light up really well. We also noticed other anomalies where there weren't deposits or we didn't know there was mineralization. So last year we mapped the Mud Lake area, got good results like 24 grams per ton on surface, 9, 6. We have another unmapped, untested anomaly, another kilometer north. That's in our field program for this year, and we have the drill permits in hand now to test the Mud Lake anomaly. I said I've spent a lot of time in Red Lake, but I couldn't help but notice as we keep noticing more of these parallel structures, these intersections creating high-grade zones. This really could be something like Red Lake. You have a lot of stacked structures there, and it creates a lot of zones in a smaller footprint. Just looking at those 3 targets I mentioned in the last slide, the Gold Rock, Mud Lake, and that untested geophysical anomaly, that's 8-kilometer strike length. Funny, Red Lake from the Koshner mine to the Red Lake mine is about 8 kilometers too. So could we have something significant like that? That's what I think. That's why I'm exploring here, because I think it could be something really significant. And on our regional footprint, we have all 3 permits in hand now to be able to drill test at both Gold Rock, Sheridan, and even Hinman. So we're ready to keep ramping up this program and keep exploring. Our exploration strategy is really twofold. We want to grow Gold Rock because we think we have a great opportunity there, but we had a strategic investment from Centerra in December. We have other interested major and mid-tier companies that are talking to us. They really want to see us explore this 70,000 hectares that we have. We want to make a regional discovery. So our exploration strategy is really twofold. Continue to grow Gold Rock, show that that could be a future mine, and then make a regional discovery. So that is kind of how we've set up the program. Sheridan down to the south, we'll start drill testing this in June, next month. What we did last year, mapping, we put together all the historic data, we created a geologic model for this, and now we have a similar theory to test, intersections of a more east-west trending structure and the northeast trending structure. So that'll be about 1,000 to 2,000 meters of our drill campaign, which is a 15,000 meter campaign this year. And then Hinman, which is way to the east, right off the Trans-Canada Highway. We're going to do more field work here first. We want to make sure that we have a drill-ready target. So we've had some good surface results, 34 grams per ton, 13, 12 last year. We want to see if the vein density is enough. We want to see how the host rock is mineralized. And then we may drill test this in the fall if it proves favorable. One of the things I'd like to point out, we might be a junior company, but we certainly operate very strategically and systematically, kind of like a major, maybe because we came from majors. We rate and rank our targets based on grade, which is king, size of the prize, social license, logistics, and then we put them on this scale from early stage to drill ready. And that's really kind of setting the stage for the M&A activity we hope to have someday with a major company. Again, the exploration budget, we are fully funded with $5.8 million this year. Cash in hand right now is 4.6. We're well on our way through our exploration program. We're actually ahead of schedule on the drilling. A little over 5,000 meters has been drilled to date. We've started a lot of these other programs as well, so it's going to be a really aggressive year. About half of it going towards regional exploration and growing the district, and then half of it going towards Gold Rock and expanding that. Busy out here speaking with investors and telling the story. That's going to be a big focus for us to keep telling this exciting story. And as we get more and more drill results, we plan to be continuously drilling this year. So we hope we're the next Red Lake, but just to remind you, we have an excellent property, great team, high-grade gold, which you can go see for yourself. The geology is right, and we have the infrastructure and shareholders. So thanks for having me.